أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to all our dear sisters who have joined today for another session of Qa'im. Inshallah ta'ala, today we will be learning Surah Baqarah, ayah number 249, which is in continuation from the previous ayat, and the context has been continuing. So inshallah, we will start with the recitation and inshallah with the word-to-word translation and the tafsir of these ayat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in understanding his ayat as he has revealed it to us, and may we take lessons for ourselves to improve our lives to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah ta'ala. So let's proceed with the tilawa, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فلما فصل طالوت بالجنود قال إن الله مبتليكم بنهر فمن شرب منه فليس مني ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اغترف غرفة بيده فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منهم فلما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله والله مع الصابرين. Inshallah ta'ala, sisters, today we will be covering the story of Talut, which has started from, today we're doing ayah number 249. This story started from ayah number 247. In the previous two lessons, we have been learning about it, about Bani Israel, when they were ordered to fight. In the previous ayat, before that, we learned about fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we started the story of Talut. And then yesterday we learned about the Tabut al-Sakina, which they had, and the trust they had put on it. And the story until now, what we know is that when they were ordered to fight, many of them fell back and they just turned their backs. The reason being, they said, how come Talut is a king over us? We do not find him fit for this job. And they objected to it, and that became a reason for them to just turn back. And this was the case similar to what had happened with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had initially he consulted the Sahaba for the Battle of Badr, and many of them said that we would go out of Medina and fight, and many others said that no, we would like to stay in the city in Medina itself and then fight from here. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he decided according to the majority of the Sahaba what they had said, and it was decided that the Muslims will go out of Medina and fight the kuffar. And when they started to leave, a group amongst them of the hypocrites, which was led by Abdullah ibn Ubay, they said, oh, we will just turn back. Since you did not listen to our suggestion, what we had suggested, we said that, to fight from Medina, from within Medina. So that is the reason that we will turn our backs. And subhanAllah, just imagine, just look at the story here where Talut, who has been appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the king, for him, the tests have already started. The moment he said that we are going to fight the people, many of them just turned back. And now he is proceeding ahead. But since he was a very intelligent man, and being a commander, and being a person in charge of many other people, he knew what to do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him what to do. So let's see, inshallah, how the story proceeds from that, inshallah ta'ala. The ayah says, it starts, falamma, and then when fasala, set out. Fasala is to separate something from something else. So separation meaning when he separated himself and he set off, basically. So fasala Talut bil junudi, with the forces, with the army that he had. So when all of the army, they just set forth, and looking at the story yesterday, we know that they got the tabut of Sakina, and they were now uh, in high spirits, so they since they considered it as a blessing and to be a lucky omen for them. Now they were all very excited to go along with Talut. A few had already just left behind, and it has been said that just one third of the army was left behind. The others just turned back after Talut was made the king. So now with that one third of the army, he is proceeding forward. So falamma fasala Talutu bil junudi. So when Talut, or Saul, as it is said in the Bible, when Saul marched forth with his army, what happened? Qala, he said, Inna Allah mubtalikum binahar. Inna, verily, indeed, Allah, mubtalikum, will test you. It's from bala, as a test. Bala is a test. We have learned this word previously also. So mubtalikum, he will test you, binahar, with a river. So let's go through the translation, and then inshallah we will do the tafsir. Faman, so whoever, shariba, drinks, minhu, from the river, meaning minhu, from the river, falaysa minni, so laysa, he is not, minni, from me, meaning he is not from amongst us, or he shall not proceed with us. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَطْعَمْهُ, وَمَنْ, and whoever, lam, does not, يَطْعَمْهُ, taste it. Ta'am is the taste. So whoever does not taste it, فَإِنَّهُ, then verily indeed, minni, he is from me, meaning he belongs to us, he belongs to this group. Illa, except man, whoever, ightarafa, takes, ghurfatan is the palm of the hand, the hollow of the hand. So ghurfatan biyadihi, whoever takes a handful. So whoever takes a sip from the hollow of his hand, or just takes a handful, fasharibu, and then what happened? They drank. The people, the majority of them, they drank, minhu, from it, illa qalilan minhum, except a few of them. So let's go from this, and then inshallah we will proceed ahead. So now the story is that they have proceeded, and it has been said by the Mufassirun that they, since it was a big army and they were just proceeding, uh, obviously they were thirsty in the way, and they complained this to their king. Now what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a test for them, and Talut, he tells them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you, and he's warning them. The question arises, why this test? I know, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to test them, and rather, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala test anyone in that case? So here, if we look in the context of the story, as we said, the Talut was a very intelligent person, and he knew how the Bani Israel acted all this long. So they opposed their prophets. Even from the story of slaughtering the calf, we have known them. So he knew how these people are, and how they could not stand in front of the army, and they were just cowards in that sense. So now he was going to face a very big army. He was basically going to face Jalut, which we will learn. And Jalut was a very strong person, and he was covered in armor from head to toe. So it was a big task to fight a big army, and any army cannot proceed and cannot be successful uh, unless and until, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for sure. But the things that the commander has to see is that, number one, how is the morale of the army? How is their akhlaq, and how is their inner self? So if there is a difficulty that is coming, will they be patient? Will they be hopeful? Will they think positive? All of this. So that is something which Talut knew, that this has to be tested, because it was not an easy task to fight Jalut. Secondly, in an army, or in a group for that matter, anywhere where people are working for a single cause, if there is no obedience to the leader, or discipline for that matter. So this was a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to test these people, that if they cannot even stop themselves from drinking water, if Allah has stopped them to drink or told them not to drink, then how can they just face a big army? People who cannot even, just be patient for this matter, for such a small thing. It's not small. They were thirsty, obviously. But still, if you cannot control your desires to the point of quenching your thirst, then how can you face a big army? And when the difficulties come upon you, how can guarantee that you will withstand that difficulty, right? So this was a test, and these are the qualities of any army, or any people, or in a group who are following a leader, that they have to be, they should have a good morale, they should have patience in them, and secondly, discipline. So that is the reason why he says that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you. And now, when we see that, why this test, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, when he tests us also, or anyone, he wants to know if we are sincere in what we are saying. So we say that I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We say that, my deen is most precious to me. We say that we want to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts us through tests in our lives also, just to know if we are truthful in what we are saying, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is testing them also, and he tests us in our lives also. Now, um, after, just to know how determined they were. Now, proceeding ahead, so what he said, that, you will be tested with a river. Since you want water, you will be tested with a river, and he's warning them. But whoever drinks from it is not with me, does not belong to me, and whoever does not taste it is definitely with me. So he can be in my army, he can proceed ahead. And this is what Talut told them. But obviously, they needed water. So an exception has been given. Illa man ightarafa ghurfatan biyadi. So except whoever takes a hollow of his hand, takes a handful of water, that's fine for them. They can do that. So now, when this army reached the river, what happened? Fasharibu, then they drank. The people drank from it, illa qalilan minhum, except for a few. Drank meaning, this part of the ayah is not speaking about those who drank a handful. Rather, it has been said in the books of tafsir, that just a handful of them, very small quantity of them, they just quenched their thirst with a handful of water. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says that those who drank a handful, they quenched their thirst, meaning they did not remain thirsty, they were satisfied with just a handful. And those who drank more and more and more, they were not satisfied. And subhanAllah, this was like a punishment for them. And you know what happened after that? Obviously, the ones who drank just a handful, they were energetic enough to go ahead. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala quenched their thirst in just that handful, because they were obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and their leader. And the others who drank and drank and drank to their fill, uh, they felt lethargic. They did not want to go, and they just stayed behind. So, subhanallah, you just imagine that the commander, Talut, he is facing backlash after backlash and after backlash, right? So a group of people had initially, when he was with the king, they just went back. Now here is another time where they do not want to come, and they were just so tired after that, that they just did not proceed. So what is being said, that فَشَرِبُوا مِنْهُ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْهُمْ, except a few. And just focus on this qalil, or the few part, inshallah, because it is going to come in a later part of the ayah also, the qalil part. So basically what happened, the majority, what did they do? They disobeyed him. They could not be patient with the test of Allah, except for a few. And that is what happens in our lives also. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests people, and Allah tests people in all different sorts and forms. Your test might be different than what I am going through. My test might be different from what my husband or my family or my parents might be going through. So everyone is being tested. And it is in these moments of test, our true belief, our true iman comes out, right? And just as in the story of Talut, just a few of them passed the test. Similarly, in the test that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts for us, it could be in the case of our iman, regarding our iman, our health, our money matters, a family, children. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us. And similarly, He did, to test their true iman. And at times, when we want to do something, as the people of Talut, the army, they wanted to fight. They came in huge numbers. It has been said that it started from 70,000 and it reached 313. That's it. The people who did not drink, in another hadith, it has been said, which is by Hazrat Bara. He says that we, the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to talk about the number of the people of Badr, and compare it with that of the companions of Talut who crossed the river, and they were only 313. There were only 313 believers with them, with Talut. Similar was the case in Badr, isn't it? Similar was the case, and just 313 were left behind. So uh, such a less number of people were left behind. This gets us into the thinking that it is not the majority who is following Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is obeying them. It is indeed a blessing if we are amongst the minorities, among the less people who are believing in Allah and obeying Him and being patient. So everyone does not come out of the test as victorious people, right? Okay. Now what happens? Falamma jawazahu. And then when he crossed, jawaza, to cross. So when he crossed the river, who? Talut and the army. Huwa walladhina amanu ma'ahu. Who crossed? He and the people. Walladhina amanu, and the people who believed ma'ahu, with him. Qalu, they said. So now just imagine, the number of people is being decreasing and decreasing and decreasing, and now the books of the tafsir say that there were 313 left with him. They said, now these were the ones who were patient, who passed through that test. But when they saw the army, when they saw Jalut, and as I told you, that Jalut was covered from head to toe in armor, and there was no way anyone could kill him. It has been said that it was just his eyes that were open. At that moment, even a believer, in times of difficulties, people tend, their iman tends to shake at times. So out of that, looking at all of this, they said, la taqata lana al-yawm. La, no strength, taqa, there is no strength, lana, for us, al-yawm, today. Meaning we do not have the strength to fight these people. We are no match to them. La taqata lana al-yawm bi jaluta wa junudihi, against Jalut and his troops. And Jalut is in the Bible is Goliath. So what are they saying? They we do not find the strength. We are no match for these people. How can we be victorious over them? They started doubting. And in our lives also, it happens when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us. At times we tend to our iman shakes at times. And it is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who keeps us steady. So they just said this, some of them said that, we do not find the courage. How can we face this army? Jalut wa junudihi. Now look at a very beautiful aspect of some of them. Just look at the words that they said. Look at the iman that has been said here. قال الذين, Qala said, الذين, those who, يظنون, who were certain. The people who were certain, who they had belief. What? أنهم ملاقو الله. أنهم, that they, ملاقو الله, they would meet Allah. Meaning, they had the belief that now or at a later day, we are going to die. Even if I don't die in this battle, there will be a day where I will die. They had this firm belief that they're going to die. And when a person does not fear death, that makes him courageous. When he has the firm belief that Allah is testing me. So when we are passing through the tests that Allah is putting us through, and we know that it's fine, even if he is testing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing me, maybe he wants to raise my ranks. That is another hikmah, a wisdom of test. Allah sometimes tests us just to raise our ranks. When maybe we are not able to raise our ranks to that level by our actions, by our deeds, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts us through a test, and when we are patient in that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us those ranks. So when we are going through a test, when Allah is putting through us through a test, and we believe that for every thorn that pricks me, my bad deeds, my sins are being forgiven. For every hurting statement that I get to hear, and if I'm patient, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely reward me for this. And everything that I'm losing here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give me more than that. We have heard of a hadith, right, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the context of the hadith is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes away the most beloved thing from person, meaning his child, so if a child dies, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the angels to check upon the person. And when these angels return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah asks them, how did you find my slave? In what condition did you find him? And the angels respond, although Allah knows, the angels respond by saying that, oh Allah, your slave was saying Alhamdulillah. He was thanking you. Alhamdulillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, be witness that I have prepared for him a Bayt al-Hamd, a house of praise in Jannah, in the center of Jannah. This is not the exact wordings of the hadith, it's the meaning of the hadith, what I'm presenting to you. So, at times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to give something, and he puts us through test. So here, when we believe that every test that I'm going through, I will be rewarded for it. And anything happens to me, there is a day when I'm going to die, and I'm going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Sahaba were so wise, actually. So for us, when we do not want to exert ourselves into obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by any means, for doing anything, just imagine, we are going to be tired even if we are not striving for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will get sick even if we are not striving for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We will face difficulties in our life even if we are not striving for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't it? Do those who do not obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have no worries? They do have. How beautiful it is if that happens, obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here it has been said that annahum mulaqullah, the people who said, those who believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who believed that they would meet Allah, what did they say? They said, kam min fi'atin qalilatin. How many? Kam is a question, right? How many? But how many is sometimes, it is basically as a question, how many? But at times it is mentioned to mention the numbers, to talk about the huge numbers, right? So here is how many min of fi'atin, a company or a group, qalilatin, small. How many times has a small group or a small company or a small force غلبت overcame فئة كثيرة, a huge group, بإذن الله, with Allah's permission. Subhanallah, just imagine these people are in a group. These people of Bani Israel, they are witnessing all of this. That people have turned away when Talut was made the king. Then they said, we they drank, and now these people have moved forward. Now the people who are remaining, even they are doubting, and how strong these people are. That they are steadfast themselves, and they're encouraging others also. Now they are saying that, how many times it has happened that a small army, a small group of people overcame a huge group. And how? Bi'idhnillah, with the permission of Allah. And they wanted to emphasize that your numbers does not matter. The means that you have does not matter. Victory only comes with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing can benefit us if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want us to. So subhanallah, when we go through difficulty, imagine, and when we tend to become depressed about the situation that we are living in, or any the things that are happening to us, either in my health or in other things, shaitan brings it upon us, how could this situation improve. What he is actually doing is that he is letting us believe that, na'udhu billah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can't change the situation, because everything can happen only by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No doctors can cure me. Nobody can help me for any other monetary issues, or nobody can provide with me with a child or anything for that cause. Everything happens bi'idhnillah. So if I feel that, I can do this, even the small task of just cooking food in your kitchen, at times we are so confident that, I can do it. I can do it with my left hand. It's nothing. But we cannot do anything unless and until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permits us to do it. And then what they say, Wallahu ma'as sabirin, and Allah is with the patient ones. So what the character is that they are boosting the morale of the others. This is our responsibility also. When we look around, when we have people around us, so when we talk about being a good Muslim, and we talk about spreading the message of Islam, it is not always opening a book and Quran and, or teaching people about the hadith. It is looking at the matters of the people around us. Maybe there is somebody who is going through a huge test, and the positive words that I and you say, or the positive belief that actually I should have, and I convey it to the people, to boosting their morale, making them confident. It is our responsibility to encourage people, not to discourage them. If somebody is trying to strive in the way of Allah, or doing something good, we shouldn't be the ones pulling them back. Rather, we should push them and, go along with them. So basically, if we look at the whole ayah, there are a huge number of lessons which cannot be actually compiled in such a short time. But a few we will, inshallah, look here. That first of all, success comes not by our actions and means that we take, but only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we can never, define success or say that somebody will be successful or somebody is going to lose just because of the means that we are looking at, or the qualities that they have. Rather, success only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we passed a test, it is only by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help. Because here they said that bi'idhnillah, isn't it? So does this mean that we do nothing? Because what we see here is the trust that they had in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't it? The trust of the handful of people. And similar was the case of Sahaba. Rarely it happened that the Sahaba, the group of believers, outnumbered the kuffar. It was always, maybe just one third. In Uhud, it was 1,000 versus 3,000. In Badr, it was 313 versus 1,000. And that was the case almost always, except a few times. And just imagine that, what is it that gave them so much courage, and what is it that even being in the huge numbers, People lost their morale, people lost hope. It is the trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, trusting Him and Him alone. And if you look at the situation in the world around us today, in countries where things are happening, what do we find in the people? They they have such firm belief in Allah. They do not fear death. They do not fear that they are going to die. What they are just hoping for is meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And really, we should be envious of such an iman, which we literally lack. And no, we cannot sacrifice anything for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unless and until we hope, and we have good hopes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't it? So this is something that we learned from this, and a few more lessons, that it is always the lesser people. You know how here they said that how many people who were less in numbers, it is always the lesser people who are going to reach Jannah. Even in the hadith we get to know that 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of every 1,000 will be entering Jannah. It means that the people going into Jannah are less in numbers. But when we live in this world, what we feel that, we need to be with the majority. So everyone is walking that way. I need to walk that way. Actually, it is very easy walking that way. And when you're standing in front of a crowd, the people who live in Bombay, they know very well, just going into the local trains. So if you want to walk to the opposite direction of the crowd, basically you're going to be crushed. It's easy walking that way. But Jannah is not easy. Jannah needs sacrifices. Jannah needs us to be standing on the opposite path where everyone is going. So we tend to do things because in my family's weddings this happens, so I have to do it. And similar case, but just know that the people who are going to Jannah are less in numbers, similar like the case of Talut, and similar as it happened in the history. Another thing that we need to obey the leader, be it our family member, it could be our parents, it could be a person in an institute that we are, or an organization that we are, or maybe somewhere we're working. To be strong, we need to obey what the leaders are saying, and hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us in having true conviction. And I would end with one hadith, a part of a hadith. At times when the matter of sabr comes, so when we feel that we need to do sabr, and then at times we say statements like, how could you do not understand what I'm going through, right? You do not know what I'm going through. But just know that even if I or you do not know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And in the hadith, the part of the hadith is, وَمَن يَتَصَبَّرَ يُصَبِّرْهُ اللَّهُ. Whoever wants to be patient, whoever tries to be patient, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him patience. Subhanallah. So I end with this hadith, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not, I pray to Allah that He does not put us through a test which we cannot bear the burden of it. But if He does, um, He decide to test us, may we be steadfast in that. May He pour patience upon us, and may we be the ones who are patient and guiding others to patient and giving them courage. So I end with this. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la